processes for Men's Gold owner Nana Appiah Mensah. Also tonight, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission fights of claims change in management of ECG will lead to astronomical increase in electricity tariffs.
They are being regulated by PURC. As far as the laws of Ghana is concerned, it's only the PURC that approves tariffs. Doing what we need to do to make sure that we pay fair prices for electricity and nothing outrageous.
We'll get to tell you more and hear from the Trades Union Congress kicking against all proposals for upward adjustment of tariffs, including Great Coast's push for a 95% increase.
And in business, ratings agency Moody's says recent banking sector cleanup could end up impacting positively on the country's credit ratings.
In sports, Ghana Football Association's Normalization Committee postpones launch of special tournament following decision by Premier League clubs to boycott the competition.
We'll have details of sports and business for you here on News Night. My name is Evans Mensah.
I am MF Apau.
You want to stay with us for the details. In fact, we start with the story that has been dominating the headlines all last week and starting today as well. The issue surrounding the Men's Gold owner, who is, of course, undoubtedly Ghana's most wanted. And we understand in the next few hours, a government delegation will be flying out. We're already hearing from the minority side who are calling for a bipartisan probe into the matter. They even are asking for a presidential commission of a sort to look into the circumstances surrounding his departure from the country and why the gaps that exist between when he was arrested in Dubai and when we got to know. There's a police statement that came a couple of hours back that confirmed his arrest on December 7th, but our officials were informed on the 13th of January. And as I've been saying, we know that a delegation is already about packing out and leaving to begin the process of extradition. Let's speak now to Deputy Attorney General Joseph Penka, who joins us on the line. Mr. Penka, I'm grateful that you join us.
Thanks very much. Good evening to your many listeners, and thanks for having me on air.
Can you tell us what the mission of this delegation is?
Thank you once again. First, in perspective, is the fact that government is so much concerned about this matter that has actually taken the nation by storm, matters pertaining to Men's Gold. And so His Excellency the President himself has actually shown so much commitment and interest in getting to the bottom of this matter in the interest of Ghanaians. And so, as you have rightly pointed out, the reportage came in as to the arrest of the Men's Gold boss in faraway Dubai, and thereafter his detention. And as a result of the fact that we equally have matters pending here in Ghana against him and the company, His Excellency the President took those steps, led by the Minister for National Security, to ensure that something is done, and is done in the best interest of Ghanaians. And so this delegation, as you have pointed out, is on a mission to ensure that we try to strike a deal with the government of the Emirates to see to the fact that he is brought back to Ghana to face justice. Again, let me not preempt anything, but we're not unmindful of the fact that all these are going to happen within the remit of international law and treaties. And so, by the combined effect of the Extradition Act and treaties, for that matter, we, strictly speaking, do not have that treaty with the UAE for extradition as such. But we're going to elevate this to law and diplomacy so that we try and get to the bottom of the matter there. If there are no specific charges he's answering in the UAE, and I repeat that, if there are no specific charges that he's answering in the UAE, all will be done within the remits of the law and diplomacy to get him extradited to Ghana to face justice and to answer to charges that have actually been proffered against him. So that is the purpose of this delegation. We are supposed to meet the authorities there with our consulate and our mission there, and then the processes will be going through for us to ascertain everything and then meet the security authorities and the government to get a way forward for this as far as bringing him back to Ghana to answer to the charges is concerned.
So there is a determination, a commitment on the part of government to do everything possible to have him brought to justice.
That is the point. And that will have to be said with all the force available. And I have told you that His Excellency the President himself is so much interested in getting a resolution to this matter. I said that at the beginning. And as I said, we had a meeting which the National Security Minister himself, who is so much concerned and so much determined to get to the bottom of the matter, look at the issues before the composition of this committee that will be visiting Dubai to ascertain facts on the ground and to combine diplomacy and law, as I indicated earlier, to see to the fact that he is brought back here in Ghana.
Who else is going as part of this delegation? Because
Well,
it might turn out that you might have to bring him, if you succeed, bring him back. And so there must be, I guess, a plan in place.
There will be people from the CID, there will be people from IOCO, and there will be people from National Security, of course. It's going to be a delegation consisting of experts in security matters and then in diplomacy and law. So a combination of the three. You have people, experts in diplomacy, then you have legal representation, and you have security persons. That's certainly going to be the composition to ensure that we deal with the matter holistically once and for all.
And I'm guessing that the Foreign Ministry will have a central role to play in this.
No doubt about that. And indeed, processes have been initiated already by the Foreign Ministry, and they are doing their very best. The majority of the things they are doing, I cannot share with you on air.
Do you have any timelines? Because this is an urgent matter, as you can imagine. It's people's lives are almost at stake here.
Well, I will not be giving you timelines, but I can assure you that it will be soonest. And of course, the urgency of the matter is not in dispute, is not in question. And indeed, it will be treated as such. Ghanaians, as has been indicated in the statement that has been released by the police, Ghanaians will be given a briefing as to whatever happens in subsequent times. There is no dispute about that. Just stand by as and when those things are available. I believe necessarily the Ministry of Information and the police PR will come out to give details to Ghanaians as to what are the details of what is going to be done, etc. No doubt about that.
And how do you respond to the criticism we just heard there from the spokesperson, the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, about the Ghana issued the warrant for his arrest just last week on the 9th, but he's been in the custody in Dubai since December 7th, and we did not know that gap. How do we explain that?
Evans, first, let me give him this response. Yes, we are living in a global world, in a community of nations. But remember that UAE is an independent state that has a sovereignty at all times maintained by its citizens and government. Ghana is also a sovereign state. And as I indicated earlier, yes, we don't have an extradition treaty between us. Again, also, the security agencies there had not, at the time, from the date that we've been given, been alerted as to the fact that the man was wanted. And so when he was arrested there perhaps was no responsibility or obligation on their part to do alert us as a country as far as this matter is concerned. But after the warrant was issued here and the information trickled in about the fact that he had been arrested in Dubai, the follow-up is being done, and it's being done with expeditious, follow-ups and alacrity to ensure that justice is done. There's no dispute about that. And yourself, you do concede that immediately after the information came in, government hasn't taken things lightly. All the necessary steps have been taken. So as to the lacuna that he's talking about, I have indicated that as at that time, was he declared wanted? Was there a warrant on him to the extent that the authorities there could have alerted us? So for me, that lacuna is explained away by the fact that at the time, the security services over there did not have any information regarding the fact that the man was wanted.
However, when we were doing our arrest warrant, we should have known at least that at least when he left the country, because there should be records of his exit from the shores of Ghana, and if we had that, we would have known where he was possibly, and the fact that he was already in custody somewhere else in another jurisdiction.
I can tell you that you are talking about the fact that the security intelligence and etc. ought to have known where it is and all that. But I have told you also that, remember, that at the initial stages, a court case was going on between Men's Gold and then the SEC. You are aware of that. And once that court case was going on for them to assert their right as far as the business they were doing was concerned, it was incumbent on all of us, in order not to act in a manner as to prejudice the outcome of the case, to see to it that there was a determination of that matter so that other steps could be taken. So exactly so, the matter has been determined, reports have been made, warrants have been granted, and the steps necessary are being taken. So the issue of not knowing where he was located or not taking steps, for me, at this particular stage, based on government's commitment and what is happening, is a moot issue.
And very finally, and I know IOCO is fundamentally an institution that falls within the ambit of the Attorney General's office. We know IOCO, they were investigating Nam1 at some point before his flight. Why wasn't? Do you know why his passport wasn't confiscated?
Well, in actual fact, if you look at what sought to happen at IOCO as far as this matter is concerned, it was a situation where, at the very beginning, there were actually no complainants at the time. That was the stage at which there was this problem between SEC and Men's Gold, as you recall. And so there was no criminal report against his person, per se. Okay? And so it is normally when there is this criminal report against you that you are investigated for A, B, C, D, that certain steps are being taken to ensure that you are answerable to whatever has been raised against you. But be that as it may, as I've indicated, no one should judge that to mean that the security agencies or government was lackadaisical in dealing with this matter at all. Because as I have rightly indicated to you, after the court issued the warrant and based on the publicity that was done by the security, with the government taking the lead to assist them in all that, the results are showing. And I think that what we should be looking at now is how to involve ourselves in law, diplomacy, and etc. to get him extradited to this particular country so that all of us can have a rest and have a justice done to ensure that all the persons who are aggrieved are assuaged of their pain because they will come back to answer. So that's the most important thing going forward that I like to urge, so that we stay away from propaganda spin and discussions that have the tendency of drawing us backwards. Where we are now is to go negotiate and bring him to answer. That's very important. We should focus on that because in the end, justice be served.
I'm grateful that you join us. The Deputy Attorney General Joseph Kpenkah there speaking to us. He's part of a delegation that will be leaving the country in the next few hours to Dubai to begin the extradition processes. So listen to Newsstand here on Joy 99.7 FM. We take a short break. When we return,
the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission fights off claims change in management of ECG would lead to astronomical increase in electricity tariffs. We have details when we return.
Superior services, your success of trusted, innovative financial services, providing affiliation, support and solutions. Customer-oriented, superior services, your success of 10 good years of loyalty, service with integrity, protective of our Ghanaian brand. 10 years of excellence, 10 years of loyalty, your success our passion. Oh yeah, your success our passion.
Your success our passion.
Hello, I say, I was now. Vodafone normal 10 megabyte free data. It will call Smart Ruby Adrian. Share.
Hello, have you heard that Vodafone is giving 10 megabyte free data for every minute you talk? You just dial 50-50.
Yeah, hello? Aha! Right now, we the Vodafone people just the cocoa plenty. Sake of us, you talk 1 minute, you go get 10 megabytes. You talk 2 minutes, you go get 20 megabytes. 3 minutes.
Call Vodafone or any network and get 10 megabytes of free data every minute you talk. It's simple. Talk to browse. The more you talk, the more data you get. Dial 50-50 to subscribe. Talk more, browse more. Terms and conditions apply. The future is exciting. Ready?
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800-222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
You're welcome back. You're still listening to News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, has fought off claims that new managers taking over ECG will result in astronomical increase in tariffs. Minority spokesperson on energy, Adams Buntawakilu, had earlier claimed the energy sector is in crisis as the ECG's debt inches towards 2 billion Ghana cedis. He blamed the situation on government's decision to reduce electricity tariffs last year. Take a listen to him.
ECG in the first half of this year accrued a loss of 1.1 billion Ghana cedis and is expected to hit 2 billion in the next 12 days. With this, you can see that the energy sector is in crisis. Gridco is in crisis, Netco is in crisis, the concessionaire is coming in, and the concessionaire is in for profit. Miracle. So we should expect astronomical increase in tariffs in 2019.
So that's the ranking member on the minority in mines and energy. But the PURC has a response.
Well, Ishmael Ajakumini says they will be regulating the new managers to ensure that no outrageous tariffs are imposed.
If, for example, ECG's losses are around 24%, we only allow 21%, so they pay for the 3% as their own. They don't, where they find the money, we really don't care. So there are regulatory benchmarks beyond that, but as the system improves, those thresholds will have to come down.
And finally, just for the sake of education, I mean, there are some fears that with PDS coming in, there could be a likely increase in tariffs. First, just to be clear, they will be falling within the regulatory ambit of PURC. It has to go through this process. You'll be fixing the tariff.
Yeah, that's how come they were here. Maybe they didn't speak because they are yet to receive their license from the Energy Commission. That's how come ECG spoke on their behalf. Plus, they are also new. But if you look into the dailies, they were required to publish their proposal, which was done last Friday in the Daily Graphic. They are being regulated by PURC. As far as the laws of Ghana is concerned, it's only the PURC that approves tariffs. No other person, not even the World Bank, not even the president of this country approves tariffs.
So that is to say that if there will be any unjustified increment or anything, it means that it has to be coming from the PURC that has looked through the figures.
It has to come from PURC and doing what we need to do to make sure that we pay fair prices for electricity and nothing outrageous.
You have a commissioner at the PURC, Ishmael Ejikumhene, speaking to my colleague Joseph Akable. But some power players are asking for hikes in tariff. Power transmitter Gridco is pushing for a 95% increase in tariff, while Netco wants 45% increase. Listen to their reps as they made their case before the PURC earlier today.
But then again, it's not just really wanting to have more assets. If you look at the energy to be transmitted over the next 4 or 5 years, it keeps increasing year by year. And we cannot wait for the demand to increase before we bring in the transmission line. Therefore, we have to stay ahead of the demand by providing these transmission facilities before you, our cherished customers, ask for that kind of energy. Therefore, looking at our costs and our projections, we came to realize that a tariff of 4.897 pesos per kilowatt hour would be sufficient for us to be able to continue to do business.
Now, under the variable cost, it comes out to 0.2824 Ghana cedis per kilowatt hour, while the fixed cost is 0.1481 cedis per kilowatt hour. If we add the variable cost to the fixed cost, it gives us a total of 0.4305, as against the existing tariff we have now, which is 0.307555. And that gives an increase of about 39.98%.
You heard the reps of NEDCO and GRECO making a case for some tariff hikes, but the TURC is unhappy, or the TUC, I beg your pardon, is unhappy about the proposals. They insist tariffs must decrease. Kobna Nyakoto is Director of Research.
We don't think so. That is not justifiable. Now, if all these aggregated increases are slapped on Ghanaians, this is not going to be fair, given the income levels you have in Ghana. Given the fact that for 2019, the Ghana government itself only managed to increase public sector pay by 10%. You cannot have all these increases slapped on Ghanaians.
They are asking, some are asking the region of 95%, that of GRECO. You have NEDCO asking for 45%, for 40%. They are saying that they are making losses. I mean, they need to make up for those losses they are making.
And we heard from the chairman of the technical subcommittee that the commercial losses are huge, and they don't need extra tariff increases to be able to correct those extra losses. It's about illegal connection. And those illegal connections sometimes emanate from their own responses to customers' demand or request for, say, connecting water or for connecting electricity. So these are the things they need to check. System losses do not necessarily have to be corrected by increases in tariffs.
Last year they made a request for increments, but the government ended up reducing it actually. I'm sure that was good for the TUC. What will you want the PRC to do going forward in terms of the announcement with all that has come?
We think that with fuel prices coming down or stabilizing, and the fact that we are now going to use more gas, which has a relatively cheaper cost, the fact that inflation is stabilizing below 10%, we think that there's still room for further reduction in fuel utility tariffs.
That's the Director of Research for the TUC, Kwabna Nyako Otu. But the PRC says it hopes to fix the tariffs by the 1st of February.
We need to announce the tariff to take effect from February 1 when the concessionaire is taking over. So within the next few days, an announcement will have to be made. But at this stage, we need to go look into the numbers, and then all the commissioners will take their decision, and then we will announce. But at this stage, I can't say whether it's going to go up, stay where it is, or it's coming down.
So you had there Ishmael Ejikumhene, a commissioner at the PRC. We're hoping to reach the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, Adams Mutawakilu, making claims earlier that the taking over of the ECG will result in astronomical increase in tariffs. We heard the PRC dismiss those claims. We'll definitely get to reach him shortly on the phone for a quick reaction from him. But in the meantime, the minority in Parliament is demanding answers from government on what they claim is 282 million Ghana cedis of unaccounted for oil money in the 2019 budget statement. According to them, the money, which amounts to about $58 million, is missing from the projected annual budget funding amount for the year 2019. Joseph Opoku Gakpo joins me in studio with more on this. So, Joseph, what are the issues being raised by the NDC MP for Ho Central, for instance?
So he makes the point that the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, Act 815, makes specific provisions on how money that comes, as far as that which needs to be used to support the budget, has to be spent. So he goes on to the 2018 budget and makes the point that in this year, the finance minister proposed that he was going to spend something in the region of $675 million US. That's the amount they're expecting. And when you look at that, they will be spending about $473 million particularly on the budget, and then the rest of the money would go into other investments. And with the 473 million US dollars, they're expecting will translate in something around 2.27 billion Ghana cedis. And then they're going to give the breakdown that MOFA is expecting about 80 million cedis of that, the Fisheries Ministry about 8 million, Ministry of Health about 47 million, and it's expected that the various ministries will get about 1.2 billion of that. And then when it comes to other expenditures like free SHS, like the work of PIAC, which will be administered by the Finance Ministry, about 723 million is again the amount that will be used on that. Then he goes on to say that when you look at all of these, it leaves out an amount of 282 million Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to about $58 million. That remains unaccounted for per what was brought to Parliament and was eventually approved in the Appropriations Act. And so he's asking a question that it's an important question that's arising. He claims that this amount is actually missing to a certain extent and that it's not been accounted for in the projected revenue expenditure for the year 2019. And so there is the need for government to come clean on how these amounts will be spent and how they intend going about the processes.
Well, we will definitely reach Mr. Benjamin Podo on the phone for a quick reaction to this, because what does he want government to do about this? Because obviously the money has not been spent. Does it stay in that statement?
Not exactly, except that for now he's demanding answers in terms of how exactly the money will be spent and why they didn't capture the expenditure for the about 282 million Ghana cedis in the budget statement that was brought to Parliament eventually. Okay,
so if we're able to reach him, we'll get that. But the minority is meanwhile asking government of the whereabouts of the $47 million Parliament approved for purchase of 10% stake in Aker Energy's oil block. Gakpo, you have details of that statement from Ranking Member on the Energy Committee, Adams Mutawaki.
So this is a statement that was issued today, and in that particular statement, they make the point that you recall that Aker Energy had recently announced that processes are beginning when it comes to the drilling of oil. Now, this is an oil block that was previously owned by a company called Hess, which was eventually sold to Aker Energy. Now, the minority is claiming that with the current allocation, as far as that particular oil block is concerned, GNPC has only 10% in that. But after government under the NDC realized that that particular oil block has a lot of potential, processes began at the level of cabinet and even parliament, and approval was given by parliament that GNPC would get an amount of $47 million US to buy an additional 10% stake, so that then they, and then as in GNPC and its subsidiary company, would own 20% as far as this particular oil block that Aker Energy is exploring is concerned. But even after the processes were done, sometime up until 2016, and power changed hands, the Energy Ministry has not proceeded on that. The 47 million was not paid to the company to buy the additional stake, and now that is expected that drilling will begin on that particular block. Government would not have the advantage of having up to 20% stake, but just 10% stake. And so they're asking that in the final bit of the statement, they make the point that the whereabouts of the 47 million US dollars approved by Parliament and subsequently transferred to GNPC is unknown, and they're demanding that civil society groups help put pressure on government to come out with details on what happened to that particular money.
And we'll get to interrogate the statement issued by the minority on that shortly here on Newsnight. But our top story, there's our government delegation set to travel to Dubai in the next few hours to begin the extradition processes for Namwan, Appiah Mensah, the owner of Mengs Gold. And earlier on that story, we had indicated that we had been billed to speak to the Information Minister Kojo Ponkrumah, and that wasn't the case. In fact, we'd rather arrange to speak with the Deputy Attorney General Joseph Kwenka, who in fact we spoke to at the top of the hour, not Kojo Ponkrumah, who had not agreed to speak to us earlier. But that information that we are getting, the team is leaving. Their mandate is to go and negotiate, especially at the time where we are now learning that we don't have an extradition treaty with the United Arab Emirates. You're going to be using a consulate in Dubai to facilitate the process, going through diplomatic channels with the help of the Foreign Affairs Ministry there. Stay with us here on Newsnight, because when we return, we'll be interrogating the minority statement on the issues relating to the oil block, but also concerns they have about some missing money as far as the oil revenues estimates are concerned. It's Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. I've just been joined in the studio by my colleague, George Rafi, with the very latest from the world of business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, ratings agency Moody's says the recent banking sector cleanup could impact positively on the country's credit ratings, and government yet to grant a 10-year tax waiver and duty-free waivers on imported materials to the local assembling automobile firm, that is the Kantanka. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
Hello and welcome to the MTN Weather Report. Joe, we know say January dear if you are a butter month, but with MTN, sea never dry. Now the details of my weather report. 15,000 cities go blow from the intertropical boundaries across the country. Rhyming in it. We can also see a mist of fog patches of 25,000 cities and a heavy monetary downpour of 30,000 cities. A move to more treat the dry season across the country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everywhere you go, whether it be school fees or akasisem fees, we there for you. Rent advance, salary advance, your sorting advance, because with MTN, we're there for you. And Joe, keep talking, browsing, texting, and transact more with Momo and win instant prizes each month. Now, Kushin will new year in the MTN More For You promo. And dial *120 hash. Now check your points. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Do that dance. Do that dance.
Nothing but the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302 764 101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Let us help you bank with the right bank. At First National Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're a digital partner that actually understands your business. Enjoy massive value with our various banking solutions. Get a business check account, a day-to-day transactional account for all businesses from all sectors of the economy. Access our online banking enterprise and bank your way 24/7. Invest with our short or long-term options that enable immediate access to funds. Optimize your cash flow, raise capital, and acquire assets with ease with our lending solutions. Trade with speed, consistency, and innovation with our global payments and forex solutions. With so much value up for grabs, there is no reason not to bank with First National Bank. First National Bank. How can we help you?
Joy 99.7 FM, radio for the discerning listener.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the recent banking sector cleanup could impact positively on Ghana's credit ratings. Now, that's according to the latest report by ratings agency Moody's. Now, in its report, the rating agency noted that the cleanup would indeed support the financial stability by removing the weaker banks. They also argued that giving the remaining banks more pricing power and enhance their efficiency as well as profitability. The consolidation of the banks, which began about 2 years, ended up reducing the banks to about 23. The country currently has a ranking of B with a stable outlook. Now, this rating often influences the cost at which the country borrows from the international market. Now, government says it is considering application from the local automobile firm that is Kantanka for some tax waivers. Now, this follows report that the company has already been granted a 10-year tax holiday and also duty-free on some imported items. But Information Minister Kojo Ponkrumah says the request is yet to be granted.
That application is being worked on at the Ministry of Finance. Once it is completed, it will be ferried to Parliament, where tax waivers legally are granted for Parliament to do its due job of granting those tax waivers. But it is an application that my understanding is that the Finance Minister and government are very, very open to, and we look forward to going through the processes.
Will this affect other local or manufacturers that have come into the car manufacturing space?
Again, until a broad policy is put in place for that purpose, it is this specific one that is being considered at this point in time. But you know that generally we are minded to provide tax reliefs to industries that we believe can generate a lot of jobs and productivity for our people. And we're doing that across other industries, textiles and a few other areas.
And that's Information Minister Kojo Opon Nkrumah. Now, it appears not all workers of the defunct UT and Capital banks are excited about moves to pay their severance packages. More than 1,000 workers should from this week start receiving their packages from the liquidation of their respective banks that they worked for. The workers over the past 2 years have been pushing hard for these monies to be paid to them. So why all of them are not that happy that they'll be smiling to the bank with their checks? Raymond Adai Dankwa speaks for the workers.
Because we're not giving discount on our loans. You know, Capital Bank actually started giving loans to staff in 2016. So most of us did take the advantage of the situation and we pick loans, so personal loans and auto loans. And just after a year, it collapsed. So what it then means is our exit pay will go to offset our loans and still even owe.
So let's just say that I was supposed to take like maybe 10,000 Ghana cedis. And if I've taken a loan that I have a balance of about maybe 95,000 Ghana cedis, just be taking home like 500 Ghana cedis.
So they will do the deductions before paying you.
Why didn't these issues come up during the negotiations so that it can be waived as well, or something done for you?
It was even the petition we sent to the president. And in all the petitions that we've sent around, we captured it in it. We're asking for either 50% or even a total waiver. Because, you know, customers were also giving waiver on their principal loan amount. So we think since we are also special customers of these two banks, I think it will be in order if it was extended to us, same way it happened to the customers.
Raymond Adai is actually speaking for the workers of the defunct UT and Capital banks. The Ghana Railway Company has resumed an exercise to remove all structures closer to the railway line from Accra to Tema. This would make way for the intended rehabilitation works on the lines and decision to actually revitalize them. Engineer Patrick Mensah is leader of the team from the Ghana Railway Company.
We've been clearing them more and more time, and this is not the first time. And the last time we did it, there's an announcement on television and the radio and even the print media that they should go away from the rail line because now the trains are back.
Between what diameter range should they be closer to the line?
They need not to be close. The minimum should be 30 meters away from the rail line, and now we have even considered them even up to 50. That is 15 meters. So they should be away 30 meters.
15 meters or 30 meters?
It's supposed to be 30 meters now. Because of some consideration, we have even given them 15 meters. But still, they are more closer than the 15 meters.
And that's Engineer Patrick Mensah of the Ghana Railway Company. Now, Pioneer Kitchenware would no longer be trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange from tomorrow. This was after managers of the market decided to delist the firm from the market. There is more in the following report.
According to the Ghana Stock Exchange, the move was influenced by the inability of the firm to meet listing requirements on the GSE. In a statement, managers of the market maintained that from tomorrow, the company would no longer be trading on the stock exchange and it would cease to exist as one of the companies listed on the market. The GSE in a statement added that it took the decision because consistently, the kitchenware retailer and manufacturer of aluminium products failed to meet the listing requirements. Pioneer Kitchenware, formerly known as the Ghana Pioneer Aluminium Factory, is a kitchenware retailer in Ghana. It is listed on the stock index of the Ghana Stock Exchange, the GSE All Share Index. It was founded in 1959 by a Swiss businessman, Paul Gottfried Schwegler.
That's a Business Desk report. In a related development, the Ghana Stock Exchange has restored trading of Aluworks and Cocoa Processing Company. Now, this was after these companies took steps to meet their requirements to actually trade on the Ghana Stock Exchange. While some are going off for the market, the trading in these shares, that is Aluworks and Cocoa Processing Company, are being restored. And that's all for Business on Newsnight.
Thank you very much, George.
Thank you, George. Now, police in Tema have started investigations into the brutal killing of the Marketing and Public Relations Manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. In the early hours of Sunday, the body of the 49-year-old Josephine Asante was found in supine position, locked up in her apartment at Tema Community 25 with a gunshot wound to her head and other marks of assault. A houseboy who lives with her has been picked up by the police for questioning after saying he had seen a strange man fleeing the scene of the crime. Max Olabagba visited the community and now reports.
At the MF's Villa Estate where the late Josephine Asante lived, managers of the facility have tightened security and would not allow strangers into the gated community, not even media men.
We're just some meters away from the MF's estate, but managers of the facility would not allow us access. They say that they're not going to permit us to film any part of the estate. But some residents there we've been speaking to told us that the crime scene is currently under lock and key as the 12-year-old son of the deceased has been taken away to another location. We are told the husband of the deceased also is out of the country.
Some residents who spoke to Joy News say they are still shocked about how the killers got access to the compound of the deceased, which is tall and electrically fenced. A sign outside the giant gate urges visitors who do not have access codes or clearance from their host to park outside. According to police, the deceased had just returned from a senior staff party around 1 a.m. when she was killed. Her houseboy later discovered her body locked in her room with a key on her compound. He later told police he saw a strange man running out of the compound. Public Relations Officer of the Tema Region Police, DSP Joseph Benefo Dakwa, explains.
We saw that the keys to her bedroom was at the main gate and the door to her bedroom was opened. So we entered and we found the body of Madame Josephine in a pool of blood, in a supine position in a pool of blood, with blood oozing from the nose and the head. We found marks of assault to the head, to the shoulder, the arms. The one to the head we suspect is a gunshot, yet to be confirmed by forensic examination. So we took the body to the police hospital where the body is kept in the morgue for autopsy and preservation. Then initial investigation at the compound where we met the son, who is 12-year-old, and the houseboy, Christian Najay, 22-year-old. According to Christian Najay, he saw a man in a black top and the jeans who ran away from the house. We have picked him. As I speak with you, he is in our custody, assisting with investigation. So investigation is ongoing.
You have Maxwell Agbagba's report. Now, tension is brewing among residents of Nkonya and Alavanyo in the Volta region over the killing of a 70-year-old man today at Beme near Alavanyo in the Hohoi district. The deceased, Alfred Afenyo, is said to have been killed whilst working on his farm this afternoon. This comes on the heels of killing of two young men at Alavanyo Jogbeje. The latest killing is being blamed on the long-standing dispute between the Nkonya and Alavanyo.
Well, we're speaking to the Queen Mother of Alavanyo in the Volta region, Mamaga Ameto II, and she's disputing claims by the police that the youth of the area were engaged in a shootout with the military. Also, today, the Volta Regional Police Commander DCOP Francis Doku insisted the men attacked the police.
The people had wind that the police were coming around, and so they tackled the police. In the process, there was a scaffold, and so the police decided to come back later to retrieve the arm, because in the heat of that confusion, police wanted to go ahead with a search for the rifle. And so a report was made to the Kwando Divisional Police Headquarters. As negotiation was going on, the youth switched off electricity supply to their town. And so it was so dark that we could not see anything. And as the military was retreating base, the people started shooting towards the direction of them. In the process, the military returned fire. And the information we have is that 2 people are dead. 6 have been admitted at the Market Hospital in Pandu.
You are the Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Francis Doku, and we are grateful to have him join us on the line. But first, let's quickly speak to our correspondent, Fred Kwame Asare. Fred, so what's the situation now as we speak?
As we speak, there is calm here in all the communities in Alavanyo. I should say the paramount chief of Alavanyo, Togbe Atakura, has been speaking to the youth here to calm their nerves down. So I should say that there is calm here in Alavanyo. Everybody is going about his or her normal duties.
So earlier, you reported that the men were armed and ready to retaliate. What's the latest on that? Do we know?
Yes, they were armed and then very furious, wanting to retaliate. Some of them were shooting into the air. But then, like I said earlier, when that happened, the paramount chief quickly stepped in and then spoke to the youth that they should calm down and that the police would take over the incident and ensure that there's peace in the area. So the youth later on went to put whatever they arranged down, and then there's calm at the area as I speak to you.
The last time we spoke, Fred, you mentioned that the body of the two men that were killed were still lying in the town. What's the latest on that? Have they been removed yet?
Yes, at about 2 p.m. this afternoon, the Bureau of National Investigation Unit in Hokwe came to convey the bodies. Now, they didn't find this easy at all. If not for the intervention of the Hokwe Municipal Chief Executive, who led them to the scene, they wouldn't have been allowed to convey the bodies to the morgue in Pande. So when they conveyed the bodies to Pande, that was when we had news that there was a shooting again in Alavanyo Kweme, which led to the death of a man in his late 70s.
Fred Kwame Asare is our correspondent, and like I said, we have the Volta Regional Police Commander himself joining us on the phone, DCOP Francis Doku. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So we had the Queen Mother earlier disputing claims by the police that the youth of the area were engaged in the shootout with you or your men. They insist that you are just trying to thrive on the existing Alavanyo, fight, to just say that the youth or it wasn't really a clash of a sort. What really was the situation, Mr. Doku?
Good evening to your cherished viewers. You recall that after the incident yesterday, I indicated that the Regional Security Council was going to meet this morning to appraise itself of the security issues and see the way forward. We had a meeting this morning involving the regional minister, the commander of the 66th Artillery Regiment, myself, the regional security liaison officer, the crime officer, and a few other RECSET members. At the meeting, it was agreed that security should proceed to the incident scene and do some background check. Just as we were getting to Pandu, we had information that the people have massed up again and that they heard we were coming and were waiting for us. So in order to avoid any further bloodshed, we relocated the meeting to the office of the Pandu Municipal Chief Executive. It was a very long meeting. The various commanders who were on the ground at the time of the incident were asked to give a detailed briefing as to what really happened. Now, listening to the district, the divisional commander, the divisional police commander, and the military lieutenant who was in charge of the men at the Prisinahojo camp, it turned out that the military and the police had gone there to negotiate for the release of the AK-47 and 3 handcuffs that were taken away by the youth. And while the negotiations were ongoing, the youth disconnected electricity to the town and started shooting towards the direction of the military, and they had to repel the attack before they could get out of the town. Now, following that, 2 people lost their lives and 6 got injured. Now, when we got to Pandu this morning, the idea was to go and pick the bodies to the mortuary. And with the kind of information that we had, we felt that it was necessary for a neutral or an independent person to go and pick the bodies. But we were told the youth had laid ambush and that anybody, including the soldiers, that will show up to pick the bodies will be shot at. Fortunately, we got the MCE for Hongwe to go with the VNI officer and the district security liaison officer who went there to pick the bodies. And as we speak, the bodies are at the mortuary at Margaret Market Hospital.
Okay.
Now, not while in the meeting, we had information that the people had engaged the military in crossfire, that they had gone into the mountain in the bush and were firing towards the direction of the military camp. In the process, one military officer was injured in the foot. A bullet hit him and penetrated. And in the process, an aged person believed to be in his 70s also fell.
Okay, but is that the reason why you've withdrawn your men from the area?
No,
Is that the reason?
Can you allow me to finish?
Okay, please do.
As if that wasn't enough, they set the police armored vehicle that was stationed at Alavanyo Peme on fire. You see, these are all worrying situations. These are very worrying situations. If the military and police had gone there in a combat mood, that would have been a different thing. They went there with the mission of going to negotiate for the surrender of an AK-47. And when they got there, goodness me, nobody from the military side fired. So it beats our imagination how they could be so hostile towards us and create such a volatile security situation to the extent that you shoot at the military man and burn the police armor car.
That's quite
they want us to withdraw out of the area so they could go on with the fight against their opponents.
So that has been done? You've withdrawn from the area?
Yeah, we felt that in the interest of the police officers who were stationed there, we pulled them to the Nkonya side. We have not withdrawn entirely. They have been put to the Nkonya side of the camp. There are two camps, one in Nkonya and the other in Alavanyo. So those in Alavanyo are the ones that have been pushed to the other side.
So we are told that tension is brewing in the area. Is this a situation that you say that the police would be able to control? Do you have it under control?
No, you see, let us get things right. It is the military and the police that are engaged in the operation. And so if the police came to look for arms and they were driven away, it means they're going to then focus their frustration on the police. And so we think that in the interest of our police officers, we will have to withdraw them until such time that CAM returns. But as we speak, the firing has abated and the situation is being monitored. Meanwhile, the military has sent a reinforcement to the area. We want to believe that from tonight up to tomorrow morning, the situation will normalize. Then going forward, when we pick information that the police can return, they will go back.
Okay, we're grateful for your time. That's the Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Francis Doku. And already the guys are discussing football.
And it's time for sports, and Hans Menson-Noise here with the very latest.
And everyone's been inside.
I'm so excited.
The popular Kotoko, rhetoric, Team Naye is flying all around.
Team Naye,
Team Manchester United. Because you beat Tottenham Hotspur by a goal to nil.
Oh yeah, I mean, but they said, we're beating, the Dewey teams, and Tottenham was just a lesson.
So you beat City, and you beat Arsenal.
But we haven't played them yet.
So will you beat them?
Oh, but that one is it's one of the most obvious.
Easy work.
It's
We'll see how it goes.
You didn't see the first half. Tactical masterclass.
We'll be back to this discussion some other day. Now, it's unclear when the Ghana Football Association special competition for the clubs will be launched after today's media launch was postponed. According to a statement from the FA, a new date for the launch will soon be announced. The latest development is as a result of the impasse between the 16 Premier League teams and the Normalization Committee. This afternoon, we asked Patrick Akoto, who is a spokesperson for the Premier League clubs, if he feels they have won. This is what he had to say.
Absolutely. I mean, don't forget that the Premier League teams or the Premier League clubs were the first outfit to send a proposal to the Normalization Committee. If you do recall, we're seeking an approval or a sanctioning to start our own, our own kind of a competition. Yes, we sent a proposal actually. So they had the proposal. Yes, we sent the proposal to the Normalization Committee. They approved it. Of course, it depended on how far we could get in securing sponsorship for the competition, which we've been on it, and we are having some very, very positive, thoughts on that particular line. So right from the onset, it is the Premier League team which is leading this crusade of ensuring that we return to the pitch in earnest.
Now, in tennis, Andy Murray produced a superb fight back in what may have been his final match, but eventually lost in 5 sets to Roberto Bautista Agut in the Australian Open first round. The Briton, who is hoping to play at Wimbledon, battled brilliantly before losing 6-4, 6-4, 6-7, 6-7, 6-2. In the women's division, world number 2, Angelique Kerber, also moved into the second round with a 6-2, 6-2 win over Slovenia's Polona Hercog. That's your sports.
Thank you very much, Hans. So, Evans, let's go to the Volta region.
Again, yeah, of course.
It was such a popular name, Mafi Akukokpo.
Yes, Mafi Akukokpo. One of those names I struggled with, but there's good news for the people there. I remember the story that Joseph Opoku-Gakpo did. Spent days there. They were drinking from...
Drinking some muddy water. It was
muddy
the
water
dirtiest water.
You can easily say that
yes,
because they were sharing it with other animals. I think pigs it was.
Was brown, like people would say cocoa tea.
Terrible. And they were drinking from that. They were using it to wash, etc., etc. And, well, thankfully, there is some good news because many of the residents contracted various waterborne diseases. But 4 months after the Joy News highlighted the plight of the community, a U.S. family has intervened and dug a borehole for them. Joseph returned.
This is how the water looks like. Unclean, brownish, muddy, as thick as porridge. Sticks and tree branches lie in them with bubbles brewing all over it. But guess what? They drink it like that, without any form of treatment.
It was basically saying that they use it to cook, they drink it, do everything with only this water.
Excerpts there of the story Joy News told from Mafi Akukokpo in September last year. A lot of interventions followed. The district assembly distributed sachet water to the community, and an association donated a water storage tank to them. Now more water is flowing. Jessica Jar from Boston in the USA saw the video after it went viral on social media and was moved.
I was really passionate about helping the spread of infectious disease in Ghana in particular. And when I heard about the situation here through the news, I thought this was the first and easiest way to help.
She and her family members contributed money to construct a mechanized borehole for the community, working through the Amazing Grace Foundation.
When I actually saw that video, I was very disturbed by it. And I was talking to Jessica over the weeks, and I sent her that video, and right away she said, I want to adopt this project and I want to build a borehole project. And so Jessica Jaffe and her sister Emily Jaffe, as well as their brother in the U.S., Zach Jaffe, put their resources together, supported by the entire family, and they came and they did a borehole.
Felicia, who was featured in the earlier story, says residents are happy they will no longer suffer from diseases through the consumption of contaminated water.
The difference is that I'm not going to sick again. It will help us because we are not going to be late before going to school.
As you can see, everybody is happy. So we pledge and we promise that we will maintain this borehole and keep it very well.
MP for the area, Alexander Hotojem, says the community needs more such interventions.
This particular water problem is not peculiar to only Akukokpo. So Akukokpo as one of them is normal. I mean, in our area it's normal. So I am grateful. Our people have gotten very good water.
After many years without water, now Mafi Akukokpo has clean water flowing, much to the delight of residents.
If you wake up today and the people of Mafi Akukokpo are enjoying potable water, then it tells you the role of the multimedia and the media as a whole in development cannot be overemphasized.
Multimedia, where is Gakpo? The man with the multiple name. Thank you so much. You have been so great in our lives. God bless you. Yeah.
The man with the multiple name.
Opoku-Gakpo.
Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. That's it for News Night tonight. For the people in Mafi Akukokpo, enjoy the rest of your evening.
I am MFA. That's my opinion with Anan Sakwa is up next with Whose Flock is Number 1.